welcome to this week's edition of Beyond Sports Podcast, where we BS about sports. Today we've got Matt, we got Sam, and Jason with us today, and I'm Tim Knaus. A little bit of news this week. Yeah, per usual, same group. Missing Will, but you want to start NFL?
Let's start NFL.
Let's dive right in.
The biggest story so far of the last couple of months, really, but with Deshaun Watson.
Well, I mean, yeah, and the suspension that came along with it. Finally, kind of. Yeah,
if you can call it one,
with the light tap on the wrist. Let's start at the beginning with it. Judge Sue Robinson, who is the independent arbitrator, right, for the NFL and the NFLPA, gave her ruling of a 6-game suspension after writing in her deposition of it that his acts were egregious and predatory, and that she basically found everything that he was accused of, or that the NFL had presented that he was accused of, everything to be true.
Yeah.
Then she called it non-violent sexual assault. We'll get into that term because that's a weird fucking term. So found all of these things, and then which led many to believe, if you read through that part, she's about to lay down the hammer, and then she did not do that.
No, she
by giving him
pillow down.
Yeah, till you couldn't even hear the hammer.
No.
So she said she wasn't going to go off, or that it was unprecedented as well, right? That it wasn't really a precedent for it, but she was still trying to use the past suspensions for precedent in this case. That doesn't make any sense either. So how did she come to 6 games for the NFL gave her 5 cases. She dropped one of them for whatever reason, just went off 4, right? So even if you're looking at Big Ben's suspension of 6 games that got reduced down to 4, this is still twice the amount of
cases.
Why the NFL only gave her that many, I don't know that either, but you would think it would be a rather larger. So now what we have, right, the since she has made that ruling, the NFL and the NFLPA can both what's the word? Appeal what they did. What the NFL did was appeal. They could both appeal it. We're in the past, right? Before the last CBA, the NFL used to hand down the suspension, and then only the Players Association would appeal because, it was the NFL on the other side if they already gave theirs.
Yeah.
During that suspension, or during that appeal, the Players Association could get a restraining order from the NFL so that the player could still play. But now the new way, as far as I understand it, me and Sneaky, you were more correct than I was when we were talking about this earlier in the week, texting back and forth, of the Players Association now has to appeal in order for that player to have any chance of playing this year. And they have not done that. Only the NFL has appealed, and under the new rules, the suspension that Judge Sue Robinson put into place is still happening, I guess. Right. So
until unless what the NFL is proposing goes into effect, the 6 games is happening.
Right.
It's done.
So the question is, because obviously the NFLPA is not going to appeal that
or whatever. Yeah, so they're not appealing that at all.
So the question is the question goes to. There's a lot of questions. We'll have to get into a lot of it. Of why the hell did she give that such a light suspension? But also, will he play after Game 6? If he goes through that suspension and they're still in court, I'm presuming they will be still in court at that time over the appeal. Or does he end up, the NFL, are they going to go after, they haven't said if they're going to go after a full year, or if it's going to be that 12 games with a fine.
I heard indefinite was.
Yeah, that's what I keep reading too.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I've seen both. I know
Oh,
that
yeah.
before
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what they truly
a
want.
year
is
with
indefinite.
Well, I thought
indefinite.
they were doing a year with a application for reinstatement was the original what they wanted. Now they're going for indefinite.
I think okay, because it's been a weird saga where it started out and they were like, we want indefinite. And then it like started coming out that Sue was like, we're probably looking to get a year. They're like, we would be more than happy with a year. And then she's like, it's reading your guys' code of conduct. It's probably only gonna be, 4 to 6. And they're like, well, we want 8 to fucking 12.
Right.
So it's kind of been that weird thing where the more that Sue read the code of
The
conduct
NFL's
policy, the
own
NFL
policy
was like,
and
dude, you guys really?
their past rulings on things like
Yeah,
this.
because that's the big issue is the
But
NFL
didn't-
being a reactionary league. Like they don't ever think that they don't think of what the worst case possible is. And they just, once they see something, they're like, well, that's the worst case scenario. We got to fucking ban this dude for life and do this. And it's like, but you didn't put anything in your CBA or anything that would give you guys
Didn't
grounds.
didn't Zeke also get 6 games? Wasn't Zeke?
I wanna
6
say so,
games
yeah.
for, like one case.
Yeah.
Like not
Yeah.
that
So it's just,
not that I'm saying his is light or but I'm like, if he got 6, shouldn't Deshaun get like? Anyways, and also you think Judge Sue would be looking at that too? Like Judge Sue, weren't you looking at Zeke's and being like, oh look, there's precedent for
I guess,
more than
because
6
she
because
classified it as
it's
non-violent
non-violent
sexual
Okay,
acts.
we'll
It
get-
falls into a different
we'll
criteria.
get into- yeah, let's get
That's
into
where
that,
the
man. That
big
is the
problem entailed in the.
can you
CBA.
have non-violent sexual assault and why are we splitting hairs with how bad how we should be punishing sexual assault?
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, Sue Robinson punted this so the heat wouldn't be on her.
I get, but there
hands
already
down.
was heat like that did create heat, given it such low.
Not for her.
Yeah, sure.
Like,
People looking at Judge Sue going,
no,
what the fuck are you
Deshaun
doing?
defenders were happy with the decision. Everybody knew he was going to get a suspension. Everybody,
Oh yeah.
like even the defenders knew he was getting a suspension.
Right,
were
they're
happy
happy.
with-
Okay, sure,
They
but
are more than happy
okay,
with 6
the
games.
5 people who are defending Deshaun Watson
there's
are
a lot.
happy. I
I
know.
see it in
people,
comments.
It's
It grosses me out.
Yeah.
yeah, how you can still defend that guy. But man, Sue, I think there was some heat laid upon her because that was such a light fucking suspension. Some people are saying she did that in
Well, that's what I'm
order
talking about.
for
So
the
she-
NFL to look good. Like that the NFL was also like, hey, why don't you give a light one and we'll come in and save the day and the NFL will look really good for, pushing for that year, even when the person didn't agree to that. But it also fucks up with the last agreement they made with the NFLPA on this, right? During their last CBA negotiations. This was the first time ever they're like, hey, we'll bring in to make these rulings a little more fair and maybe consistent. We will bring in an independent judge, right? But also in that CBA, it said, well, if the NFL doesn't like the ruling, they can appeal it to themselves and Roger Goodell has final say.
Yeah.
So is the NFL going to set its own precedent here of saying like, we will pull that trigger right away if we want, like, we won't really think twice about it. Right. That's what a lot of people are also kind of upset about. Although it's like, well, I don't think the NFL would normally do that in every situation, but this situation is a little fucking different.
Yeah, I mean, you're usually not going to find me coming down on the side of the NFL.
Oh yeah.
But
Right.
yeah, in this case, I'll look the other way.
Yeah, like go, please, come on, man. And yeah,
Do whatever you want to. Like,
and I get the Players Association has to back their guy, but like, dude,
yeah, no, I
that's
mean, they're
much.
like
That's
they
what a
have,
union does. And then when people do want to throw in like, well, like, okay, Calvin Ridley, are you serious? Like that does look bad. The guy, $1,500 bet got him a whole
He hadn't
year.
been around all year.
Yeah, on his betting on his own team as well. It's not like he's betting against
Because
his
he
own
stepped away
team.
from the team to deal with mental health, and he was in a completely different state.
Right.
than the
So
Falcons. He hadn't been to the facility.
again, you're betting on your own team. Like that doesn't seem like. Anyways, it looks bad, but I mean, to explain why he got a year, it's because in black and white in the CBA, it does state like any gambling is like a year suspension, at least, you know. So like that's black and white. You can't really fight that. It's right there. They don't have anything set for sexual assault because you want to take something as serious as that on a case-by-case basis, more or less, although you would think there would be at least a minimum. And you would
And
hope
then
that
it
minimum
should
would be a
also
year.
say it should also say something about, you know, if you have more than 5, if you have more than 10, if you have more than 15.
Well,
If
they
more
only
than
they only
20,
reviewed
Right.
they only reviewed the 5.
I
apparently,
know.
and shit.
The
Like,
next
what
CBA will be very interesting.
Yeah.
you always you always
next
think it
CBA is just
will,
going to
and
say,
then
do whatever
it's-
the fuck you want. Who cares anymore?
get all the drugs off there. So
I
yeah, now,
for real think Deshaun's career's over.
okay. So yeah, do you not
I
think
don't,
he
I don't, I
will?
don't think you're going to see him.
Think he plays at all this year? The league did. So before Sue handed out her ruling, before it went to that, the league did hand the NFLPA one last like bargaining chip, or not bargaining chip, but just one last offer of 12 games, $10 million fine, I believe, because the Browns were trying to protect him financially and they wanted to, you know, they want to hurt a little bit. So 12 games, $10 million fine for Deshaun, and he has to seek help. Right, for it.
Is that an
counseling.
official offer? I haven't heard anything on that.
Yeah, apparently from everything I've seen, the NFL did offer that, and the NFLPA turned it down. And now it looks like they might regret that, because if the NFL does go for a year, I doubt the player hasn't won that often when they've gone to court with these things. Like,
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're-
Well, the other thing is too, like Goodell can just stick him on the exempt list.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I'm kind of surprised that didn't happen already.
Yeah.
Because he's trying to make it seem like there's a process.
Yeah, I guess.
But yeah, at the end of the day, Deshaun is not playing football this year.
So I'm not like
Tough to see.
knowledgeable in this, but were the Browns smart enough to end his contract? Like if he were to get suspended indefinitely, do they owe him the money?
Yeah, that money's already paid.
So
He got
the signing bonus is already paid. The signing bonus is already paid. There's probably some outs in that
guaranteed
contract.
dollars on a year-by-year basis, or does he get all that in a lump sum?
I think he gets a signing bonus as a lump sum, and that's why it kind of matches what his contract would be on a year-to-year basis. Because it was.
Well, I'm just talking about the guaranteed side of it. Like that's all.
Oh yeah, because
Like,
you know the full contract being
whether he ever plays a game or not.
Right. They got to pay him over those years.
I think what
guaranteed it.
Andrew Brandt was saying was that there were, for the first 4 years there is no team protection or something like that.
Because the only thing I've seen with his contract was that, you know, if he were to get suspended for a year, he's safe because the only money he's going to lose is the money that he doesn't get for playing each game, and it's only like 750,000 of his whole first year contract.
If he were to miss the 6 games this year, right, which he probably will, right, and not get those game checks, which you won't if you're suspended, that is less than $400,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those 6 games. It came out to like 370,000, which is fucking nothing.
Yeah.
For what this dude is getting
for
paid.
what he's getting paid for sure.
So,
and supposing Deshaun Watson never steps on a football field, that destroys, like, you can't have a football field, football team for the next 6 or 7 years.
I mean, man, I think you're being a little naive with saying he never gets back on the field again, because this is the NFL, and the Browns did guarantee him $230 million.
Yeah, so, I think that there was a sense that he would be on the football field at some point, because the Browns weren't alone in this attempt to land him. You know, there was 4 teams that were in the Final Four, you know, I mean, so it wasn't.
Well, I could really amend that to say that I don't think he's ever going to be on the field as a top level player again.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I can see that. But I mean,
that may be true,
even with
especially if you don't play 2 years in a row.
Mike Vick missed 3 years and came back, and he played some of his best football. Yeah, it was a short burst, a short window,
And with a much better coach too.
Yeah.
Or presumably so far anyway.
So let's take this story and move on to another player at the Browns. We've got news that Kareem Hunt has said he wanted out, and the Browns said no.
They should. That one I see. It's like no, we're not going to do it. But then like week 4 of the preseason, when some big name back goes down with an injury, we're willing to trade Kareem Hunt.
The Browns get
like
are here a really good offer for him.
There's it makes more sense for the Browns to trade Kareem Hunt at this state because you're not going to re-sign him next year. He's a free agent after this year, so why not get something out of him while you can? And I mean, you can probably he is a number 1 back on most teams.
Yeah.
So you can land quality assets for him. So this is your last opportunity. It's a reclamation project. You've got Chubb already ahead of him, and D'Ernest Johnson played well last year when both of them were hurt. So I don't think that Hunt is a necessity to the Cleveland Browns. I think that his biggest value will be through the trade. So I call bull crap on that one. I think the Browns will trade Kareem.
Yeah. I think it's just a ploy to maybe try to get his trade value up a little.
Yeah.
I mean, does that team really need more negativity?
I think he'll end up being a situation where if the right offer comes along, because I mean, they're not going to let him go for nothing.
No, I don't think
a lot of teams are trying to offer the Browns the house either for a running back who's got maybe 1 or 2 years.
No, but I mean, I think that he's still 27 years old and
pretty old for a running back.
So 1 or 2 years.
But you're talking, he hasn't been a focal point the last 3 years. I mean, that's true.
His wear and tear is not.
These are low.
He's been a split bag.
So that's extended his career. And I mean,
so before I saw this, that he had asked for the trade, literally like 10 minutes before that came out, I saw a story popped up on my phone, and it was, Chiefs should try to get Kareem Hunt. I'm like, I don't know.
I'm good.
Yeah, I mean,
we've moved on.
Exactly. We let him go for the. He lied to Andy Reid.
We've got guys.
We'll be okay. Yeah.
And
I'm not against Kareem Hunt still playing in the NFL, but
I just thought it was kind of funny that that popped up, and
Jaco and Ronald Jones. We're good.
We're all right.
Yeah, but I was in that same story where the Browns said no. People are talking about how they should definitely try to trade him and get a couple picks back from losing all the picks for Deshaun Watson.
Absolutely. I mean, you can't.
They have no picks really.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can
net something back,
a conditional 5th rounder, that could potentially become a 4th based on playing time, stuff like that. You
don't think they could get a 4th conditional 3rd?
That's possible as well. I think that. I mean, it just depends. If they were to try to trade him today, it'll be lower. It'd be 5 to the 4. But if they try it, injury.
I bet they could get more out of him than the Cowboys got for Amari Cooper. Almost
wouldn't take much.
Yeah,
and Amari Cooper might be worth a little more. The
Colts got more out of trading Carson Wentz than the Cowboys got out of trading Amari Cooper.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's insane.
Got some bad ownership.
Well, yeah, sure does. That's some very poor ownership.
Speaking of poor ownership, Miami Dolphins.
Oh yeah, we got that story.
The next one up. All right. So
big segue.
That one, that's a real interesting one there. When all the reports of hey, Brady had actually maybe retired to try to go play in Miami and maybe own the team. And they also might have tried to do the same with Sean Payton to swindle. That's why they both suddenly retired there. People are like, oh, okay. And then it turns out all of that's fucking true. It's all true.
Yeah. And I mean, they were like
every bit of it. Like the
goddamn crazy. Accomplish anything without there being some shade around it. I mean, ever.
But think about it. This is like the ultimate scam in Tom Brady's eyes.
God damn.
He
Okay,
was like,
yeah,
Brian
and-
Flores is my boy. I had a good relationship with that dude when we were together in New England. You gonna fuck him over like that? Shit, I'm gonna talk to you guys before the
well, but then
deadline.
but then he does it for like the next 2 years as well. So like,
Yeah.
I guess Tom didn't bite out of New England or something. He didn't like something, right? Maybe the coaching situation right away with Brian Flores. Although you think, anyways, and then
Maybe
goes to Tampa Bay. The next year they tamper with him again in Tampa Bay, and then they do it for like after his second year. So 3 years straight,
yeah.
they tamper with him. They also tamper with Sean Payton.
You're right.
And then once the legal tampering period comes about, they reach out to the Saints to ask if they can contact Sean Payton, and the Saints say no. And I mean, they still do it again anyways because they had already done it.
We've already
before.
done it. We might as well do it again.
We were just trying to like, maybe try to do it the right way.
We
but-
were nice about it. We
I think
asked.
that has something to do with why Sean Payton took the year off too.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Like,
well,
he's
that's
already
why
been
he-
suspended once by the NFL and had
yeah.
to
So
reapply
a lot of people think, yeah, he retired because he saw some of the heat coming.
Yeah, exactly.
Although I know players can't be punished for the tampering part of it. I don't know if coaches can either. I think it's just organizations like
Yeah.
owners
Yeah, but
and front
they would
office.
probably try to come after Peyton because he's been in trouble in the past.
Plug it maybe.
Possible. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
That, a
So,
second,
but
we're
that's-
talking
a
about.
second offense of that nature could get
People
it banned.
were throwing around maybe that's why he retired when he did. At least seemed like he retired so that he could go over to Miami. Same reason why it looked like Tom retired, which same he did retire is that so he could go to
Yeah.
Miami. And
I
yeah,
hope
and then Belichick sends a text message to Brian Flores that he means to send to Brian Dable, that he mistakenly
Yeah.
sends
Oh, wrong guy.
it to
I
Brian
just have you
Flores,
all saved as Brian.
congratulating him on the Giants head coaching job, which he hadn't quite interviewed for yet. When he meant to send that to Brian Dable, who had
Yeah.
interviewed and gotten the job already.
Bill Belichick is known
thus-
for not getting the details right.
Thus, yeah, I know. Yeah, Belichick, yeah, a mistake he would, makes every day, I'm
He
sure.
probably already had tape on the whole thing.
I mean, his camera's in the Giants facility.
So-
on that.
Belichick sending out that tweet leading to fucking over, a division rival for them, and who
Right.
looks to be maybe, I mean, besides the Bills, obviously, but the net, who looks to be their biggest competition for number 2 in the division. Yeah, a
Who's the
coincidence?
fourth team?
Coincidence? I don't know. Most people would tell you no.
Yeah.
Right. So the punishment that they got hit with was the owner got hit with a $1.5 million fine, suspended him through October 17th, and they lost their 2023 first rounder and their third round selection in 2024. And they hit the vice chairman with another $500,000 fine.
So he
So
got
pocket
suspended.
change to the two, the owner and the vice chairman.
But he got suspended like 2 less games than Deshaun Watson. Bro, like
For tampering.
And, okay.
I mean,
the only part of that mattered was the first round draft pick.
oh yeah,
Although
exactly.
everything
They
else
already
is
have.
fucking chump change. Oh, you suspended the owner from sitting in his, private booth in the stadium, like
yeah.
his suite in the stadium, where now he's gonna have to sit in his home theater, on his yacht. Like
Yeah.
that.
I mean, they already
I'm
have
so sad.
they have an extra first round pick already. They have the 49ers pick for next year also.
Right. So all
So,
you
I mean, you really didn't do
still,
jack.
yeah, I know. Yeah,
Probably end
you
up being a
took,
better pick.
you took away. Well, actually, the Niners pick.
It's gonna be close. I mean, they're both solid.
So yeah, you take away a first round pick in a year where they have 2 of them. So if 2 doesn't work out, it does, I guess, hurt their ability to trade up in the draft, but that's about it. So yeah, the penalty for this was pretty light.
Yeah.
And
It does come off pretty light
it's very light.
for a tampering case.
a pretty big one too.
Magnitude.
Exactly.
Not only that, but like, oh, we found you were tampering with one of the best coaches in the league, one of the best quarterbacks in the league, right? And you tampered with that quarterback for like 3 years straight.
And doesn't this also include the integrity of the game claims where they were,
Maybe I think it would have. So they found that the pain to lose games didn't actually happen. That it was a joke.
That happened.
That I know that for sure happened.
Right.
Yeah.
That the owner sent out because they even had like a text message or a note of some sort from the owner that said it. But then when they interviewed everybody about that incident, the owner was just kidding, guys. It's just joking. Just joking.
Just
No,
joshing you.
He said knock knock first.
I wasn't gonna give you $100,000, which I wipe my ass with.
You didn't see
I'm a billionaire. I wasn't gonna actually give you that for losing games.
I swear I put LOL at the end.
Dude, I definitely put LOL. LOL, JK,
So-
Winky face.
And
All
then they
day.
didn't even get the quarterback they wanted.
Right.
Coach.
Or the coach. But they may have gotten just as good of a coach. Well, I mean, it's tough.
I'm
Sean
talking
Payton
in the
is a very-
draft. They wanted to draft Joe Burrow.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well.
But the whole year they were tanking for Tua. Like that whole year, you remember, like that was the big thing because they lost like the first 6 games and it was so bad. And everybody's like, because Tua was that guy that everybody wanted first overall until the hip injury.
Well, until that and until Joe Burrow, like,
And Burrow had started, like moving along.
plug
but, like,
in, just,
Burrow,
dude, Burrow is like by far away the best player in college that year. Like,
no, and I'm not disagreeing.
Heisman,
I'm
no
just saying.
problem. National championship, no problem. Like,
But up until then, like the whole top,
was Tua,
Tua
yeah.
would be the first overall pick in that
Yeah.
draft before that season, college season
Okay.
ended. And that ended with Tua not being able to finish the year because of a hip injury.
for sure.
I think that he would have still landed in the same spot. I think Miami was destined for Tua.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Right. Warm weather guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
So. Yeah, but that suspension, kind of laughable. The first round draft pick's really the only thing significant. Other than that, bunch of like,
Yeah.
slap on the wrist. I don't know.
Whatever.
Um,
Another little shit show down in Miami.
Yeah. I think they're going to turn around though. I think they recovered well from all of it because could seem. I think they've got a good coach,
I like McDaniel.
got a good
Yeah.
product on the field, or should. That's all up to Tua, really.
So, speaking of tampering, how about tampering with one's mind and talk about Aaron Rodgers coming out talking about taking ayahuasca?
The first thing Aaron Rodgers has ever said that I liked.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? That really puts the last year and a half into perspective.
It
Right.
does. I mean, yeah.
It does.
It made a lot of shit
Hey,
make
he
sense.
said-
right.
Yeah, for sure.
He
Oh
thought
yeah.
he did get the fucking shot. He was on drugs and he thought somebody fucking gave him the COVID vaccine.
Oh my god. Yeah.
That's where the trip took him to the fucking
Yeah.
facility to get the shot. He
Yeah,
wasn't hurt.
he was tripping, got the shot. And what'd you do to me? We immunized you.
Yeah, he was as thrown off as everybody else when he got it.
So man, yeah, with A-Rod, I mean, look, the only thing I've actually ever disliked with A-Rod was that COVID stuff, and it
Yeah.
wasn't even like because he didn't want to get it. Like, I disagree with that part, but okay, you don't want to get it. And it wasn't him like spouting a bunch of misinformation, because I think that was him also being ignorant. Like, I don't think he had planned, or like, I don't think that was his intent was to spread misinformation about COVID. He was just also kind of dumb and a victim of misinformation, right? The part that got me with him in that whole thing was his defense of I've been immunized, his immunized defense. Not even saying in the first place, because I get why you say it. You're saying it because you don't want to be like Cole Beasley was, where you were like the face of this thing fighting for it. Cole Beasley was fine with that. Okay. Aaron was like, I don't want to be part of that. He was truthful with his team, right? He told them the truth. He told the league the truth. And I don't, is it the media's business? Probably not. If he doesn't want to tell him, if he wants to say, yeah, I've been immunized, whatever. It's when, okay, you've been caught on your bullshit. And you don't just like say that was the reason. You're like, oh no, I wasn't trying to mislead people or lie. It was because I had done my own thing and I had done my own research and gotten my own immunized thing.
Yeah.
Wasn't he
that was, and then like that was annoying. Like, dude, just be honest.
Wasn't he
with
also
us,
though?
right?
Wasn't there a little controversy that because he didn't actually tell anyone he was showing up in the facility not wearing a mask when he was
He
supposed
wasn't
to be
doing any of his interviews in masks.
Yeah, so
because-
that was a little
Okay, maybe he
iffy.
broke some protocols, but
Broke
yeah, and then they
all the
didn't.
protocols.
Yeah.
And they didn't play. Okay, so that kind of leads me to my net, right? The NFL didn't end up doing anything to punish him or hold him accountable for that.
No.
The thing that really made me upset with Aaron Rodgers during and just eye roll and cringe into fucking next week was his persecution complex over the whole
right.
thing.
Yeah.
Cancel
being
culture.
attacked
I'm being taken. Kids, oh my god, they're coming after me, guys, trying to cancel me. Hold on, I gotta go get paid like $40 million to go play football on national TV. Oh, and every single commercial break is going to have a State Farm commercial with me in it
Right.
during the entire NFL season, whether you're watching football or not.
Yep.
I've been so canceled, guys. One of my sponsors dropped me. They were a healthcare company. You're like,
Well, yeah.
yeah, dude, like that's like a glove company dropping OJ. Like, of course. Like, and that was it. That was all. The
Ford losing OJ.
Ford dropping him. Come
Yeah,
on,
they're
man.
like, you couldn't even drive that fucker fast.
Show off the Bronco. Jesus,
Yeah, show
man.
it speed. If you're gonna do some
That's-
stupid shit like that, OJ.
Take that shit off road.
That's the stuff that really bothered me with him. And that's the only stuff that's really bothered me with Aaron Rodgers. Before that, like, I understood why he was mad at the Packers for drafting,
Absolutely.
trading up to draft Jordan Love in the first round of the draft,
What an
for never really drafting him a guy in the first round to help him out. And then cutting some of his favorite wide receivers.
Yeah.
Like, and not coming
Randall
to him
Cobb
for
and-
say, and like he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. You should absolutely seek his advice for what guys he would like to throw to. Like, come on. So I understood all that. And now with the ayahuasca stuff, bring it full circle here.
It makes sense now.
It makes sense, and I like him. He's bringing me back a little bit into the Aaron Rodgers camp.
I might start wearing my Rodgers jersey again
You can wear a throwback again.
and put a frog on it.
Yeah, man. He's this hippie. What a time for the NFL.
It has
Their
been
biggest-
20 years since the Packers have taken a wide receiver in the first round.
Okay.
Javon Walker.
How
It's like
about
us with quarterbacks.
What's that?
like a left tackle?
So it's like we used to be with quarterbacks.
Right. Yeah. Moving on, we've got we saw very little of Josh Jacobs in that Hall of Fame game.
No, we saw too much of Josh
I mean,
Jacobs.
too much.
Oh, too much. I'm sorry.
We saw 7 carries
Yeah.
across multiple series, though.
Yeah. Why are
That's
you
the
starting who you would think would be their number one running back, right?
Yeah,
I
figured those.
thought so.
You would think those are the guys, the position players that you'd want to have low mileage going into the season.
And Josh McDaniels saying he wanted to see how he fit in his offense.
Well, and he also wanted to see his running backs taking hits in real games.
Nope. That's the opposite of what you want to do.
That normally,
crazy.
but he
Because
said he wanted to see his.
These aren't real games, Josh.
These
Right.
Like, are
We
you
know-
trying to have another failed stint as a head coach?
Right.
This is the most injured position, and you are okay. So we're already seeing questionable decisions from Josh McDaniels and the Raiders.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm fine with it.
Love it.
Surprise, right?
But
Love every minute of it.
Do you think
Josh
that's the Raiders-
also did. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no, you got.
Josh McDaniels. He came out and said that they are not shopping or planning on getting rid of Josh Jacobs, which
Just planning on hurting him before the season starts.
Yeah.
I guess.
Your number
I
one
believe
running
that as
back?
much as the Browns aren't gonna try and trade Kareem Hunt.
Oh, here's the exact quote. He wants his players, especially running backs, to take live hits that cannot be replicated during practice.
You know, Josh Jacobs has done that.
For
Yeah,
what? Yeah,
right.
Not a rookie.
like he's got years of tape.
Yeah.
Like, and he's pretty good. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
It's not like this is somebody who you're like, I don't know if we really want to keep him around or not. You know, we don't know how good this guy could be. No, he's
Yeah,
good.
9 touchdowns last year, 12 the year before that, 7 the year before that.
I mean, Josh Jacobs has been a solid running back.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like Josh Jacobs.
He's never been, the top guy, but he's always right there, He's always in it every season, it seems like.
Yeah, man. If you compare him up with another,
So it looks like the Raiders have Josh Jacobs, Kenyon Drake, and Zamir White, which was a 4th-round rookie.
Yeah, I mean, like,
great.
and
Sounds
Amir
like a good
Abdullah,
running
I mean,
back room. Why are
Kenyon
we-
Drake's nice, but he's not a featured back.
No.
No, the only one that is on there is Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, I mean, like,
So
I'm just so confused by them. First, them not picking up his 5th-year option was confusing to me
Yeah.
because, I mean, he's
Yeah. Yes and no. I mean, unless you think you have somebody on your team, but I guess we just went through the list. There's
I mean, I guess because he only finished with 872 yards last year there, but he had 350 receiving yards. I mean,
Fuck it, give Devontae 2 quarters next game.
yeah,
send him out there, man.
yeah,
see
it's
what we
real.
can
Like,
Throw them all out there.
Let's see him light up these, 2s and 3s, right?
Right.
Like,
yeah,
Hey, low-key though, the problem is the Raiders look pretty fucking efficient. Like, I understand it was preseason and it was against the Jags, but like there was no fucking up on the Raiders' part. That was the problem.
Oh,
Like they were efficient.
It's the preseason.
yeah.
We're gonna see how they do in the regular season. Okay, Raiders gonna Raider is what we usually see.
Raiders gonna Raider. I mean, the AFC West is scary for a reason this
man.
year. So if even the
Dog
Raiders
fight.
are gonna be efficient, then it's gonna be a long season.
Yeah, well,
But who knows?
I'll tell you that.
We can move on from Josh Jacobs. This is kind of like a who knows what's going on there story.
Yeah.
But we saw, was that last week, Tampa Bay's center Ryan Jensen went down with a apparent knee injury.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That is,
He's very
Tom Brady
good.
doesn't have a center.
Yep. So, ouch.
Yeah.
You
I
hate
am
to see it. You hate to see some of the injuries already coming through.
I'm still not seeing anything on if they know the extent of the injury, but they're saying that they're hoping that he's only out a couple months.
Hey man, that'd be great.
I mean, would it?
Oh, yeah, that's the guy. I hate that guy.
Which guy?
Ryan Jensen.
Oh yeah, he's
I
kind of a weird looking
I
guy,
like his face.
right? Weird looking fella.
Hey, but apparently he's good, man.
They have also got Mike Evans is apparently injured, but they're saying that it's
His
just a
is
hammy.
fairly minor. Yeah, like he
Yeah.
should be back for the regular season, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they're saying that they'll probably just sit him the whole preseason, which why not? It's
course.
Mike Evans doesn't need
Of course
to
you
go out
would.
there.
He is, yeah. He's
He's proven he doesn't need to be out there.
No, well, sometimes you want to see how that guy can take a hit in a game.
Yeah, well,
wanna-
if you ask Josh McDaniels,
Yeah, you want to put one of your premier.
What about Derek Carr? Can you take a stack off the edge?
yeah.
Yeah. Hey, man.
Derek, can you be the running back for this play?
Speaking of, Ryan Jensen, I forgot who. There's an interview on McAfee show with some former O lineman who was with Ryan Jensen in his rookie year, saying that dude, in training camp and practice would go a little too hard sometimes, right? It turned out to be great, which can bring us into the next guy of Trevor Penning for the Saints getting into a rookie O lineman, the first round draft pick rookie O lineman, getting into fights 3 days in a row in training camp, and that third day
getting sent
getting
home.
kicked out. Yeah, how serious?
Incognito retired, so he needed a replacement, and there he is. You know, like one out, one in, one out, one in, one out, one in. You know, we got to have an asshole.
Super-
You got to have a psycho in the league.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he is super super popular with the defensive side of that team.
Yeah.
Now,
He's
okay.
definitely not going to get a Christmas gift from those.
So is this actually a bad sign? I don't know if it really is, because
I think you want your offensive lineman.
You want your offensive lineman to kind of have a mindset like that. And as long as this is happening on the field, right? Because it's happening on the practice field and not in the locker room.
Yeah.
Then, okay, let's also see how those guys respond to him, especially come the regular season.
It didn't look great because it wasn't that he was like blocking too hard. It was after the whistle had blown, he's like still hitting dudes in the face.
Still, yeah.
Well, that's if you're doing stuff after the whistle, that's a problem.
He has some temper tantrums, it looks like.
Yeah. I mean, you can coach that out of a guy, sure.
Well, yeah, and we'll see just how serious
that was the wake-up call, but
that is. And maybe they've had a conversation with him like, hey, we love how hard you're going, but once that whistle blows, you got to stop. Like,
I mean, that's their first round pick, though. They're not going to cut him.
No. And again, like it's not, you see this shit all the time. Like there's fights in training camp every week, with a team. Sometimes with their star quarterback, as we saw last week. But there's fights every week, especially, offensive lineman, a rookie guy trying to prove himself. Now happening 3 days in a row, that's not a great sign, but
yeah.
He could be a real dog. He could turn out just to be one of those guys who you love having on your team and you hate playing against.
Yeah.
So anyways,
yeah,
that's football, right?
That's our NFL for the week. We can move on to some baseball news. We'll start out with it's a little old news at this point. I'm sure most of our viewers have seen this, but Soto was traded from the Nationals.
Yeah.
Along with Josh Bell.
Yeah. And you want to list off what they got for him?
So they sent those two to the Padres. Padres sent back left-handed pitcher Mackenzie Gore, outfielder Robert Hassel III, shortstop CJ Abrams, outfielder James Wood, and right-handed pitcher Jarlin Susana.
Right. A few of those are prospects.
Yeah.
I love how they were like, okay, we got a package in case Hosmer says yes that he'll do this, and we have a package in case no he won't. And the Nationals like, we'll fucking take either of those.
Yeah. Oh, and they also got, I think because of the Hosmer, they got veteran first baseman Luke Voigt.
Okay.
So I think instead of Hosmer.
Yeah, I love that. I love that the Padres went to Hosmer. And they're like, we know you said you didn't want to go to the Nationals, but if we were to get their best player, would you be willing to go to the Nationals? And he's like, are you drunk?
Yeah.
He's like, no, I don't want to go to the fucking terrible team that's getting rid of their fucking only
best player.
Light.
Do you want? They're like, all right, well then I guess we'll send you to Boston.
He's like, Boston. I'll take it.
But hey, man, that Soto trade,
that's big.
Some people are saying it's the biggest one since Babe Ruth, and I don't know my baseball trade history well enough.
It's up there, but I wouldn't say since Babe Ruth. But
you don't see a guy who is this talented, this young, with 2.5 years left on his contract ever get traded. Like a guy who has helped you win a World Series.
So yeah, I guess maybe since Babe Ruth.
Yeah, like what, man? How bad were? I mean, I know the Nationals weren't good, but this dude, you've already won a World. Like he's been with your organization through a World Series win. He knows that you can put a team around him, that you're competent enough to do it. But of course, the Nationals have looked pretty bad. I don't know. It's weird.
But is
it possible that when he turned down the contract, that he also said, I honestly just want to leave really bad?
Yeah, it could.
Now he's living on a beach.
Yeah, he might have just area.
I certainly understand why he turned down the contract. And I don't understand why the Nationals, maybe they can't afford a better one, but that's a generational talent.
Yeah.
You'd want to pay him.
And you would think that if you could spend the next 2 years convincing him to stay, that
right.
so, yeah, I mean, Shocking.
trying, yeah, you could be like, hey, look how how our team is getting better, which hopefully for them it would. But I don't know. I also don't know enough about the Nationals to say if it will get any better for them or not.
Some are saying too that the big three that they have now in San Diego is one of the top big three
Oh
in the history of baseball.
my God, man. Yeah. So we're Tatis is about to come back, right? He's been
Yeah.
injured, but he's about to come back healthy. Or maybe he already did. I don't think it's yet. So you've got Soto, Tatis, Manny Machado.
Yeah.
That is good Lord, man.
And really, they even got Josh Bell, who Bell's
yeah,
decent,
Yeah, but those are the big three. Plus they've got, and they've got some good pieces around them too. Like, how do you lose?
They also just traded from the Brewers. They just got that the closer Josh.
So we're gonna go
Hader.
into that here too.
I mean, it's all one story. Or you think about it?
Yeah.
It really is.
Padres are looking to win.
They are, man, and they're making those exciting moves that you want to see.
Mhm.
We'll see if they can actually do anything with it. It was last year was so disappointing for them.
Right.
I
I like Tatis. I like watching.
I love Tatis. Oh, he's so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
I would love to see him. They need to be in postseason.
Right.
Gotta have to do. I mean, they look poised to be in there as at least a wild card.
It does suck that Haas left.
That
I
made me
would've
like
loved
him,
to-
of course, that
Yeah.
much more.
Yeah.
But they're still really fun to watch.
It's why I liked the Brewers for a while because they had Kane
Yeah. Oh, and Moose for a little bit.
and Moose for a little bit. And then
And the
Moose went to
Brewers,
the Reds.
I like. Okay, we can get to, since the Brewers are one of the topics here. They are like the National Leagues of they're the Royals National League version.
Right.
However you want to say that. So I've always felt like, a kinship with them.
Yeah.
Them trading their closer Josh Hader to the Padres is very odd. When they're in contention, and you don't usually see teams weakening their bullpens at this point.
Mm-mm.
Now I know they felt a little okay with it because they have Devin Williams, who is their setup guy, who just made his first all-star appearance this year, right? So they have a very good closer there, but you don't want to have fewer of those guys in your bullpen, right? You got to have a set,
Well,
the way that teams are built nowadays and the way you win is by having like a few guys in your bullpen,
right.
not just one.
So the deal sent left-handed reliever Taylor Rodgers, left-handed pitching prospect Robert Gasser, and right-hander that's a weird name, Danielson Lamont, and
Right.
outfielder
Some of those
Esteri
mouthfuls there.
Ruiz.
And none of those guys really help. Well,
I mean, they got a
help
couple
them
pitchers
They don't
back,
help them
but
on their batting side of
no.
it. The Brewers haven't done anything to help their bats, which they kind of needed to. If
Yeah.
anything. Their Devin Williams, their setup guy, his interview for when he was interviewed about this trade, it was not good. Like,
No.
he didn't
Wasn't
seem to
happy.
understand why they were doing it. So this feels like it has hurt them in the locker room, especially because after that they went on to get swept by the Pirates, and in one of those games, Devin Williams, their setup guy, gave up a walk-off home run to lose the game.
Mm.
So the guy that you kept already gave up, a save, and you got swept. They just won today, but yeah, just not a good feel. You're a team
No.
that's been good for a while now. You make the playoffs pretty consistently. One of the, one of the big questions on their team kind of is like, are you building, like you're building a team that can make the playoffs, but not one that can win in it.
Right.
And this kind of this is yet another thing where you're like, we're not going to keep this stud. Instead, we're going to make maybe some other solid pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So we can, anyways.
We got Whit Merrifield. I mean, this is more of a a local story for us. Whit Merrifield getting traded to Toronto.
Did we touch on the Haas trade to Boston?
We did.
Okay.
He went to Boston.
Yeah, he went to Boston and then instantly came back home to KC for
What
a
is-
series. So
I know where. Yeah, he was cheered. At
yeah,
every
he got
event.
a big standing ovation.
For sure. And the park was packed, man. The park
Yeah.
was more packed than it had been all year.
You love it.
You got a lot, yeah.
I love that.
The Red Sox are also weird. We don't really have to touch on them, but they've been trading and selling, and
Yeah.
they seem like a team that doesn't know what they want to do. They should just sell. But anyway,
They should just sell because they had that big fall off there. I mean, they were in contention for a little hot minute, and then they
had a great June and then a terrible July.
terrible.
But I think that's probably the reason they don't sell off is because you look at the wild card race and one bad month, they're still in the thick of it.
Yeah.
I mean, they're sitting at around 500.
Yeah.
They lost to us again today.
Yeah,
they haven't.
We won
I mean,
that
at the
series.
time of the deadline, though.
Yeah, we won that. Yeah, dude, we won that series. Yeah, now they're a couple games under 500, which you can claw your way out of it at this point by having a
Great August and September.
better August than you've already had because you just lost a series to the Royals. So after we sold off our best players. So
You guys showing out.
yeah, all right. That Boston.
Real question
doing?
going into the Whit Merrifield trade: do we think that he gets the same type of reception that Hosmer did when he came back to the? When he
Absolutely not.
What is the
Absolutely not.
exact opposite? Because that is what he is going to get. Lots of booze and
Batteries thrown at him.
We're
let's
not
do
Los-
that.
we're
Let's
not-
not do that.
We're not Oakland.
Let's not hope for that.
We're not Oakland.
Yeah. No
Yeah. So
batteries.
Royals have sent Whit Merrifield up to Toronto after refusing to get the COVID-19 vaccine for the Royals, but then has gotten the COVID
to go
vaccine.
play in Toronto.
Go play in Toronto.
He refused to get the vaccine for the Royals so that he could go play in Toronto against Toronto, and then got traded to Toronto.
Right.
Like, which is also kind of like Toronto. What do you? Okay, all right. Toronto tried in this trade deadline, but I don't think they did anything too.
They didn't do much.
Witt, I think, was their only.
I actually was reading. A lot of people think the Royals got the better end of the deal on this trade too, because Witt's been struggling,
This season he is, yeah.
and maybe a change of
If you
scenery
think-
will help. But
Yeah, if you think that you can make him the player that he has been, or for you're banking more off of the rest of his career than this half of the season,
yeah,
okay. But yeah, we did all right with our trades.
yeah, we
didn't- I
got
didn't-
Samad Taylor. He's a speedy guy, and then right-hander
didn't-
Max Castillo.
I didn't hate him, and
Castillo.
we had to because those contracts, were coming up, and those guys, Benetton, weren't going to resign here.
Right. And then another Royals story. We had Nick Prado hit his first walk-off homer against the Red Sox the other night. That was cool to see.
Pretty awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, yes.
It's cool
Yeah.
because he also got to do it in a packed ballpark.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, because Haas was back.
Exactly. And I mean, Boston's just a big draw, I mean,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
if you're
Yeah,
a,
those games are always pretty, have a good
Yeah.
attendance.
if you're a losing team in the AL, you're like, okay, at least we get the Yankees, the Red Sox coming to town. We'll sell out the stadium a few times this
So,
season,
yeah, right. You can always count on them.
Yeah, because I mean, people just want to see those squads in person. So
And then one more baseball story we've got this week. It's just more of a stat line, really, but White Sox's Dylan Cease has only allowed one or fewer runs in 13 consecutive starts, which is the longest such streak since earned runs became an official stat in 1913.
So they're saying that this dude is throwing straight fire.
I mean,
yeah. My God, man.
That's impressive.
lava, magma.
Talk
Yeah.
about Cy Young candidacy there.
Yeah.
How was he doing
mean-
before that stretch? I'm not gonna pretend I know anything.
This is the first time I've really heard this guy's name. I
Yeah.
don't really keep up with the White Sox too much.
What's this guy's ERA?
Let's
Is he just
look.
having a hot streak, or is he having a hot year? Or
How many
Yeah, we're
innings?
talking Cy Young contention here.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, that's a good question, Sneaky. How many innings is he eating each game?
So let's see here. We've got stats. MLB
stats. All right.
Give us
So
a-
the 2022 regular season, he has 12 wins, 4 losses. His ERA is 1.98. He's at 22 games. And innings
Alright,
pitched, he's
okay.
pitched 122.2.
All right. So, hey, man, he gets those he gets some, those wins cranked up to like 16, 17, 18. You keep that ERA under 2, start doing that. Yeah, that's Cy Young for sure.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, so his last 7 games, his ERA is 0.86. His last 15 is 1.28, and his last 30 is 1.98. So there's a gradual decline in ERA, which is
He's
getting better.
Hey, man,
He's getting better.
Yes.
giving you about
So-
6 innings per start.
yeah.
You know,
Hey,
in that range. That's a solid.
And depending on their bullpen situation, they could be saving him for we've got a decent
mean-
bullpen. Let's save his arm for the rest
Yeah,
of the
I mean,
season.
If you had a
You don't
yeah.
need a guy throwing 8 innings every time he starts.
6 innings is a good day for a pitcher.
oh yeah, nowadays.
Yeah, I mean
That's all you ask of them. That's
Yeah.
all you ask.
yeah,
Give
we
me
all
6.
get enamored with the perfect games and all that, but I mean, I think that's not something you expect from a pitcher every single day.
Right. No, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Um,
So
Unless
that's our baseball this week.
hey, DeGrom came back and looked strong.
Oh yeah,
Right?
Yeah, you said he had a perfect game through 6. Is that what it
Going
was?
into 6.
Going into the 6th.
Was it DeGrom that got traded to the Phillies, or was that?
No. There was Syndergaard.
That's who it was.
Did he actually get
The other
traded? Did the Angels trade him?
I think to the Phillies.
The Phillies? Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, that's why I got those two confused because I just remember
You remember the Mets that we
Mets
played
World
against
Series.
for
Yep.
DeGrom, Syndergaard, and then Matt Harvey. Those 3 pitchers that were supposed to take us down. And
Amelia.
yeah,
Familia, yep, and he gave up a homer.
and Familia. Oh yeah, their stud ass closer.
That was better than Wade Davis. Remember?
Yeah, wishes.
All right, let's move on. We got a little bit of NBA going on.
A little bit. I mean,
Not much, but a couple of stories there.
yeah,
We had the pro-ams.
this is cool, man. I'm a big fan of that just because it's, especially for the players from the Hawks, like Donta Murray, Trey Young, and John Collins getting out there, getting that little head start on building chemistry. And it seems as though these guys are going out there for the fans, I mean, they're going out there because NBA games are expensive. So this gives those families that couldn't afford to take, everybody to a game, they can go to these pro-am games for free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to
This is
see
valid.
LeBron, DeMar DeRozan out there doing it.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool when you can see these big stars go out and do these sort of things. And really, yeah, I mean, the only thing they're doing it for is those fans that are watching them. So
Like it.
Speaking of LeBron, do you think he signs an extension?
that's a tough one.
Yeah, that is. I mean, I don't know if he should.
I mean, I don't think he signs one until after this. He would look into it until you see the progress that the team makes this season. I wouldn't be shocked if LeBron just decides I'll stay in LA because he did go out there so he could expand the brand, get more into like acting and stuff like that.
But didn't he
Yeah.
say he
Oh,
was gonna sign
that's exactly what.
wherever Bronny signs though?
Yeah, I mean, we were still a couple years out from Bronny.
Oh, I thought that was next year.
No, because he's still in high school. I want to say Bronny's a senior in high school.
Okay.
So he's gonna have to play at least 1 year at college.
He'll have to play 1 year in college. So I could see him.
Does the NBA not change that yet? Come on. They talked about it. We always hear talk about it. I thought
He can go to the G League.
Alex Sterling was all for that.
They haven't officially.
All right.
I missed it.
I know, but I've heard him talks about
And honestly,
him supporting it going back down to 18 and like.
and what I've read about Bronny is he wouldn't be drafted straight out
No.
based on talent. You know, based on name and the fact that LeBron's going to play wherever his son goes, could get him drafted out of high school. But I think he just needs a little more time to grow. I think Bryce he's gonna be really good. LeBron's youngest son.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like I think 15. He's I think 6'4" or so.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. 6'4", 6'5" in that range at 15.
You even want that if you're Bronny? Like, don't you want to come in and make your own mark? Like, even you're not going to be your dad.
No, yeah. I mean, that is a tough one to think. I mean,
do you actually want to play with your dad?
Yeah.
I mean, you get the cool side where you got what Ken Griffey's played together.
Yep.
And then
you'll be the first in NBA to do that.
Yeah, Doc Rivers coached his son, which is really cool, and got some great moments out of Austin Rivers in the playoffs and the season. So I mean, it would definitely be an added pressure because more people would be guaranteed to be watching. Even though I think a lot of people would be watching to see what Bronny does no matter what. Yeah, I don't know how I would handle something like that, but I don't think I would be all for it personally, but
Yeah.
They do seem to be a very close family.
Yeah, I suppose it depends on the kind of relationship they have.
Yeah, it does seem like LeBron has a very close relationship with his sons. So maybe that is something Bronny would enjoy. And I mean, if you get a, first hand experience and more to see how he takes on the coaching and all that, smart move, I think.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Bronny. That wasn't even on the list, guys.
Yeah,
I mean, we can pull out things here.
Right. No.
So speaking of LeBron's teammates, whether they be former or current, Amon Shumpert. Arrested for felony possession of marijuana.
Not just like, okay, you had some.
Hey,
it means he brought 6 ounces of weed to an airport in Texas.
I mean, of all states too.
Dude, yeah, like obviously none of us give a shit if you smoking some weed, but like
Texas doesn't. Yeah, they don't.
Well, not even that, but like
only Joe Rogan gets to smoke weed in Texas.
Oh, right. Yeah. Right. 6 ounces
through an airport, dude.
Through an airport. What are you doing with 6 ounces of weed in an airport? Like 6 ounces is a lot. It's not a little amount. Like,
what was his strat and how did he hide it?
In his duffel bag.
That's it.
Like he wasn't. Yeah, like he wasn't. He was hiding it like he hit his socks, man. Like
if the article I read was true, true to text, it was from High Times. I mean, that doesn't mean it's true. But he apparently approached the officer and was like, "Yo, so am I cool to go pick up my daughter still? I need to catch this flight." And they're like, "No, dude, you're going to jail."
You tried to bring 6 ounces of weed onto a plane.
And he had clips.
It's not okay. It's not like our next story will probably get into Brittany Griner, who accidentally had a cartridge, right?
If that's to be believed.
If that's to be believed, right? If she even actually did that, where that she accidentally forgot in the bag. Okay, that's totally understandable. 6 ounces of weed in your duffel, you don't forget that. That ain't just
a good time.
Dude.
I mean,
maybe he just lives a completely different lifestyle than which he obviously does.
Right.
But we're 6 ounces ain't shit. But
so yeah, I mean, you mentioned Brittany Griner, so
yeah, that'll be a
little bit of news came out with her getting 9 years.
9 years.
And I mentioned the supposed if she had it on her. I honestly I think it was a way to get through the court case, because Russia did mention that they wouldn't trade our prisoner for their prisoner until after she was sentenced.
Yeah,
And why not get through the sentencing faster? If you have a chance of coming home.
they were going to give her that sentence.
I
one way or
mean,
the other.
and if she pled not guilty, they were going to give her more. They were going to give her up to 20 if
Really?
they found her guilty.
Mm,
Yeah, is
okay.
what I was reading.
Dang. All right. Well,
So
Hopefully they'll be able to come to an agreement to get her home.
because I was reading that if she pled guilty, the max was 10. If she pled
Okay.
not guilty and they found her guilty, it was a max of 20.
and they gave her 9.
They gave her 9.
Or the harsher punishments for us, because it's all a political ploy, anyways.
And I also heard that her guards all say that she's a great person. Even being
Right,
in
yeah,
prison,
of
she's
course.
treating them well. Which why
Yeah,
not? You're in a
I'm
Russian
not-
prison.
Yeah,
you
I'm
know?
not. Yeah, of course she is, but like, I don't think that probably doesn't mean a whole lot to them.
Right.
I don't know what if they're in Russia, there's anything for good behavior, maybe.
No. I mean, and
And in this case, it's not gonna
obvious she's a
matter.
political pawn anyway. So yeah,
Right.
it doesn't matter.
Right. You
So
know.
yeah, but hopefully now that
And
she's been
they're-
sentenced, we can get something going to bring her
Yeah.
home. I know
then
there are a lot of
Russia,
people
I mean-
online that say, it's silly that why bring home somebody for weed when we have people in our own prisons for weed still. But it's,
And they do have a point there, but
They
not like, don't be
it's
mad
not the
that
point that you're
you're
trying to
mad
make.
at you're mad at the wrong person if you're mad that we bring Brittany Griner home. Like,
Correct.
so
Yeah.
I know I'm definitely mad that we also have people in prison for weed, but that doesn't mean
It's two different stories,
yeah, it doesn't mean you let another wrong continue to happen because of it. Like,
Exactly.
anyways,
But
I'm done.
yeah, hopefully they can get her home soon.
hopefully.
Get her out of Russia.
For sure.
God, man. Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
that's-
all right.
That's all we've got this week.
it.
P, you got another question?
What trade blew your guys' mind at the trade deadline? I know we're a week out from it, so maybe some of the dust has settled and some clarity came through, but what trade really
Besides Soto?
besides
It could be Soto.
maybe Soto,
If that's the one that you really like.
there was a lot of moving parts in that one. So
I think my favorite trade, not because I was mad at him, but it was Witt. It was really funny that he went to the team that he couldn't even fly to play for because he
Man.
refused.
Hey,
it all just worked out.
When I said that just destroys our trade partners, like in the East. Like, we can't trade with an ALS or an AL East team now with great. And you're like, oh, well, never mind. We traded with the team that you couldn't even go play against.
But
No,
yeah,
he just doesn't want to take a shot for a bad team.
yeah.
right.
We made 2 because didn't Ben Attendee miss the Toronto series as well? For the
Oh
same?
yeah.
Yeah.
We were able to
And
trade both of them to the AL.
To the AL East.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kind of cool.
But
We were able
yeah,
to make the best out of both of that situation.
Maybe, hey, look, with Witt, maybe he had an agreement that if the Royals were any good and had playoff contentions, he would do it. But
Yeah.
it was all a what if at that point,
Yeah.
But yeah,
Thanks for watching to this point. Thanks for watching, guys. We made it to this point. You made it to the end. So
we didn't do it for 2 hours and 25 minutes this time.
yeah,
hey,
so you guys should leave a like, a comment,
so we could then.
subscribe to our
Yeah.
and turn on the notification bells.
No,
Because you
Okay.
made it this far, so you obviously liked it. So show us.
you don't need the notification.
Yes, we need that.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you must.
We'll definitely see you guys next week.
Right.
See you then.